welcome to another episode of The Ranter. Well, let me start off. I made a mistake and I forgot to cover a topic on one of my episodes. I covered it, I was going to say I was going to cover it, and I didn't. Well, today I'm going to talk about the Landlord and Tenant Board. I am based out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I'm going to start by talking about it. So, the Landlord and Tenant Board can be very complicated. Some people think it's easy. Some people that practice in as a paralegal or in the law field find it easy. They do it every day. For me, the average Joe, no thank you. There's adjournments, and adjournment can cause delays, and then you have even more problems with the tenant, and it's not even worth it. Another thing that can happen is you have an agreement. The person says they're going to leave your property on this day, and before you know it, you have to call the sheriff. That's another maybe 3 weeks in the process. And then you show up, the person's still there. They want to argue. The sheriff has no patience for it, and they're like, "Excuse me, time for you to go." And they even say it. I remember this is a personal experience, and I share sometimes my personal experience, and I've seen this firsthand. The sheriff told the tenant one time because my mother owned some rental properties, not rental properties, but a property. And what happened was we needed a sheriff, and the sheriff even said it to the tenant: "Listen very carefully. I'm in the business of putting people out, not putting people back into to a premises." So they're very tough. That I will admit. And the landlord and tenant board in Ontario, they have some rules, and there's one in the sections that I don't like, and I think it's section 12 or section 14. Please don't quote me on it. I don't have the book in front of me. So the section is no pets void. So what that means is this, and I even made an argument with the professor when I was in school about it. If you have a pet, or if you enter the premises without a pet, and then you brought the pet while during the tenancy, the landlord cannot evict you. It's something in the rules that they have that you don't have to be evicted. But if you have it in writing, you're able to maybe maneuver around it. But sometimes it's very hard. I'm not an expert in it, but I remember I asked my professor, and he says you could barely do anything about it. So if people are in the rental business, that's what can happen. It sounds bad, and it is bad, but what can you do? Sometimes too, I've learned this one as well. Get along and see what you can do. That's the best way that things work out. That's what I'm going to cover today. The landlord and tenant board. What else was I going to say? Well, it's very simple, and I do this all the time. Thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate the audience. Also, if you have anything that you want to mention to me, theranter2020 at gmail.com. Once again, it's been a great pleasure to advertise this episode to you.